Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot, and welcome to the Living in Your Truth reading. This one is all about you. So this is the series that's all about you, but it's very much a general reading for people within this collective. So whether you watch other series within this channel or not, this one's going to be relevant to you if you're part of it. So come on in. If it resonates, maybe hit subscribe. Make sure that you hit notify if you hit subscribe so that the readings will actually find you. And we'll go ahead and get going. This one, this is a little bit, I think, going to be a kind of a deep dive into what that Scorpio season means for you. So something that we can get a little bit more deeply into. The first thing that I will do is grab you an oracle card out of the Shaman's Dream Oracle here. And just get us a little bit of a starting point. A little bit of a starting point for this reading, because this could be about anything, because it really is about you. It's guidance for you. We always are happy to see advice come out for you, but we're going to ask for it very specifically as part of this reading. And this first card often will set the tone for us and give us a little bit of a reference point. This is going to be in addition to that card that we already have for the fall of letting go, finding some closure. And then, of course, we've got the truth and uncertainty cards over here that are the concepts that came out for us during the Scorpio time frame. Now, to add to this, we also have the card of the drifter. Experiencing life as it comes is what it says here on the card. And I like this one because it has a lot to do with the way, one of the things that the pieces of advice that you've often been given, which is to create a little bit of, like, release the expectations around how you think things will happen or how you think things should happen, assumptions, expectations, attachments to outcomes. As much of that as you're able to lift or allow to release, that's going to release also some of the limitations on your experience. So experiencing life as it comes starts to take on a very different tone. It starts to take on a very different tone. So let's go ahead and look into the energy of you at this time. And this is going to be a combination between what you're putting out there and what you're bringing in, what you're attracting. Oftentimes they're two sides of the same coin, very much related. Okay, so we have the Hierophant in the reverse coming out first. Now, this has to do with information being available to you, but you not necessarily not taking it at face value, but yet I don't see you ignoring any of the advice that comes in. I just don't see you taking it all. This is you're assessing what comes to you, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just an observation that you're assessing what comes into you, and feels like kind of maybe even making the best of it. You've got the card of Judgment. This feels like a temporary time for you to really be able to kind of see what's going on around you more clearly than you ordinarily can. So not to say that you're going to be more accurate at identifying what's happening around you than normal, but you are going to kind of feel like you have a better feel for it. It'll feel like it happens more easily. And then here we have the Ace of Swords. Look for the deed or there is some kind of a misdeed or something that creates mistrust, something that happens, and you are going to be put in a position to just mention it. You might not even have to do very much about it, but you're going to need to acknowledge it. And it basically is going to be something that kind of is like the energy of addressing a bully before they get in the habit of being real obnoxious to you, so that you can head that off at the pass. It's got that kind of feel to it. But I feel like you are going to be inclined to do that. I think what may surprise you is the ease and diplomacy with which you engage the situation, like you didn't know you had it in you. So that's the kind of energy that you're bringing to you right now. You're also bringing that energy in of whatever that misdeed is. So we've got the energy of the Fool jumping into something new. That's basically what it feels like, is somebody is maybe trying to take advantage of that. You may have some fears, but it doesn't look like you are in any way driven by those fears. It also, though, looks like you have a new type of guidance available to you, or not necessarily even just guidance, it's resources. It feels like it could be spiritual resources, but it doesn't have to be. It's a sense of new availability of these resources. Like maybe you've done something that, or you've introduced yourself to someone, but be aware there is still a sense of somebody kind of wanting to take away from you, or somehow find a way to make you seem, they just want to take you down a notch or something. It's kind of got that feel to it. Page of Wands. Page of Wands, I think, is going to be what protects you from this energy that's a little bit, it's like it's a bitter energy that just wants to bring you down, or bring anyone down, really. It's not specifically targeted to you, but I feel like you're going to do well with it anyway. This Page of Wands is passionate, but it's like a clean, innocent passion that has a lot of curiosity associated with it. It's very much still kind of a noble energy that comes out with this Page of Wands, even though it's Page of Wands is notoriously like youthful, naive, possibly childlike. In this case, the innocence is there, but I think that curiosity comes out above anything else. Then we've got, here goes that Nine of Swords again, and the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. Here's where things start to feel like maybe you're taking on too much. So the key is going to be here, not necessarily to take on less, but to maybe give yourself a little bit, redefine what success looks like. Give yourself a little bit of grace is what I was going to say. Redefine what success looks like. So it's not necessarily getting everything on your to-do list done by the end of the night. It's like when I used to counsel people who had just had children and were trying to return to work after maternity leave, and they would come to me and say, this is a hot mess. Like, I can't believe this is the least productive I've ever been in my life, you know. And we would cross a couple bridges, make sure, like, is everybody fed? People are mostly clean when they go to bed. Like, is that what's happening here? You know, and then let them know, yeah, you're doing fine. It's supposed to be kind of a hot mess, but there's this feeling of, I am not the person that I thought I was, because I'm not handling this the way that I thought that I should, or it doesn't look the way that I feel like it should. This is what this reminds me of a little bit. Just realize you may have to redefine success, because it may not look the same way that it did before you had a change in some sort of circumstance. And that circumstance could just be the way you're defining, you know, the way you want to use your time even. It could be something very simple. It's not even something that's happened to you. It's just something that's kind of happened along the way, and now you have to find some way to make the adjustment to it. Move these cards over here a little bit. I just want to make sure I've got room for everything that's going to come out. Okay, so here's where I want us to dig a little bit deeper into what that Scorpio season means for you. So remember, from Scorpio season, we had that it's a sense of dropping the need to hide behind that ego a little bit. A deep personal reckoning, an emotional reckoning. And this is by no means a surprise to anyone who's been listening to this channel for a while, because it feels like we've, throughout the last few weeks, experienced quite a few opportunities for those reckonings, reconciliations, and really just kind of digging more deeply into places where work has already been done. So this is a time where you have maybe a choice to make, but it's not going to be a simple choice. So we got the decision, like, don't make the decision until you have to. You got that advice during the Scorpio reason and the reading, and it said, like, if you have a choice of A versus B, your answer is going to be C. You know, it's going to be something a little bit different. But I wanted to dig a little bit more deeply into this and just sort of see what it is that this looks like, the Scorpio season means for you. We know that it's not going to be the same for everybody. Like, we got that sense that for you it was this reckoning, and for your person maybe that reckoning doesn't quite feel the same way. King of Swords here in the reverse. This is the plan is no plan sort of reading or energy right there. That is not having a plan. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though. Okay. So you're supposed to be watching for triggering, going with it, using it. You know things are going to change, and you kind of have to pay attention to what that means. But it doesn't mean you go into it with a plan. You've got an Ace of Wands here in the reverse, which feels like something is threatened. It feels like you end up kind of maybe don't see it coming. There's something here that gets threatened, and you're like, oh my goodness, I wasn't even aware that I was going to need to fight on this other front, you know. Six of Swords. And then you'll see the rest of the picture. Okay, so you're going to have a challenge that erupts here somewhere in the, I feel like it's very near future. And at first your response might be, why would this be happening to me? But after some consideration, you're going to be able to, the clouds part for you enough that you're able to see the whole picture, and you're able to see why there might be a little bit of an issue there. I feel like it's in enough time to do something about it. Maybe it's the right things that you need to say to smooth something over, or it's about getting something in by within the grace period after a deadline or something like that. It's something that can be saved. You just have to be on your toes. Eight of Pentacles and the Hanged Man. Okay, so being on your toes, as this is going to give you a perspective that you maybe have never had. So you've got a new perspective coming in during this time frame that allows you to see the truth of a situation and allows you really to hone in on a skill set that maybe you've never really faced before, all in the midst of a bunch of change. So remember, we've got this sense of truth and uncertainty that pop up. I'm going to try and make those a little bit clearer. Feel like the angle, if I can make the angle better. But we've got this sense of truth and uncertainty showing up across the Scorpio time frame, and here this fits right hand in hand with it. And it has you interpreting different things, or interpreting things that you might have seen any other time in your life. You would have interpreted them differently compared with how you're going to interpret them now. So you're a little bit more wide open and a little bit less fearful about what you're seeing, more willing to experience life as it comes. That is kind of as you're getting more truthful with yourself. And I think you're still going to have plenty of opportunities to do that. Three of Cups here in the reverse, something you choose not to go to. I know a couple of you have been very internally facing, not going out very much, taking some time to yourselves. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but this does have a little bit of a sense of a missed opportunity and having to work a little bit harder at something because you missed an opportunity. Here's the thing, though. I'm not convinced you ever know that you have to work harder at it. So that's a matter of perspective that you're unlikely to have, and therefore probably shouldn't worry too much about. But do be watching for those opportunities, and if you've got something that seems like it's an important thing for you to attend, here's one of those situations where the tarot is telling you about something that could potentially happen, and you may have some choices if you don't want that to be the case. So if you feel like there's something that you have the potential to miss and it could create some issues for you, or that makes the path harder, then, you know, take that into consideration. If you have the opportunity not to miss it, then maybe don't. So here's the Three of Swords that I was just feeling when that Three of Cups came out. And I was like, well, but where's the Three of Swords? This is about learning from what you've experienced already and getting to a place where it actually starts to benefit you while you're still in the midst of learning the lessons. So you may have learned a portion of some kind of lesson, and then this is about being able to use what you've learned to kind of pull you through the rest of the way through that lesson. But you've also got the death card coming in here. So you know there's significant change coming in. It's not even new. It's been nothing but change. Remember that when we asked what the Scorpio season was going to mean for you in love, we saw that this was going to mean something a little bit different for them than it was going to mean for you, and that you would end up seeing a very flustered human side of them, where they recognize that the change that they need to make is really presented in front of them, like this is the time for them to engage it, but they don't know how to press go. They don't know how to engage it. It's like I likened it to seeing it off the path. Like if you were on a highway and you could see it on the service road, but can't figure out how to get to the service road. It's that kind of thing where they recognize it and they may pass it by, if not, if they can't figure it out in time. You, though, are kind of in a similar situation, but you are going to be able to figure out how to get to that other place. It's your responsibility to drop the ego and to move toward the change in, whatever feels like the responsible way. I get the words, the responsible way. It has to be something that fits with the directions that you feel like you're going. And there's going to be, this is in love, this is in every other aspect of your life. You're not going to be able to fake it for yourself anymore. And I feel like that's kind of important. Let's get you a little bit of advice on your way. One of you had asked the question, like, how are we doing? There's a lot of opportunity happening. There are people jumping into new things, people starting businesses, what have you. Like, how are we doing and what are the watch outs? Give us a little bit of advice. Now, seeing that we've got this great opportunity energy coming in through Scorpio, and really not just the opportunity, we've been seeing that, but the ability to use it, the ability to the timing ends up being good. Let's get some advice on, like this person said, how you're doing. What are the watch outs? General advice. Okay. Well, we've got the King of Pentacles. You are this is a time to get to know yourself. But one of the things that you're going to discover, you will basically never feel that imposter syndrome feeling again, at least not the way that you have felt it in the past. Once you take this particular step of getting to know yourself a little bit better. Now, I think we got a couple there. We've got the Sun here in the reverse. Not to take something personally that feels like it is it's not as big of an issue as you think. This is a much more forgiving situation than you think. So whatever the thing is that's weighing on you, you can go ahead and let it go. You can feel okay to let it go. Do take it as a little bit of a warning. It's like you said something. It feels like you said something, and now you're maybe a little bit worried that it might have come across wrong. Here's the thing. It came across exactly the way that you're afraid that it did, but it is also hitting somebody that, for whatever reason, they're like, whatever, I'm not that concerned about it. This is not an easy person to threaten, or it was not an easy situation in which to threaten them. They didn't take it wrong, but they did hear you. So you have nothing to work through or worry about. It's not a missed opportunity, but just take it under advisement that this is something that shows up in their memory of the conversation. It is something that stuck out for them as well. You have a Seven of Pentacles here. It's a continued investment in self. Whatever that means, whether this is a day where you're building a new business or a new job or a new relationship with a friend or with a romance. Some of you are working through romantic new relationships. There are a few of you that have come into union, and it's just hard enough you're still listening. I know for sure there's a couple of you that are kind of in that place, still in a need of guidance, but this work that you're putting in, the effort that you're putting in, turns out to be one of the most important parts of it all, because that's going to be how you navigate things going forward. That's the strength that you're building. So Seven of Swords, just like we saw with these joint aces of swords over here, there is something about an untruth surrounding you. I don't know that it's specifically targeted at you, but it feels like opportunistic. It would take what it could get from you. They would take what they could get from you. So be aware of that. Don't be prepared to give it unless you actually want to give it. You've got a Knight of Pentacles here in the reverse that says that there is something that you're doing that is creating an inconsistency that doesn't hurt anybody else, and it doesn't even really hurt you. But if you were to pick it up, or you were to pick up on it, all of a sudden you would be able to make an adjustment that that kind of moves you forward and makes you feel like you're able to cover some kind of gap that you feel. So this Seven of Pentacles in the reverse and the Ten of Wands in the reverse has to do with a gap and feeling like you can't catch up, or like you're coming from behind. It's almost got like a Three of Wands kind of feel to it. Something that's not set in motion though. Feeling like you're coming from behind the eight ball, where in reality, I don't get the sense that you're at as much of a disadvantage as it seems like you are. So there may be some benefit to stepping back and looking at the situation as it might relate to somebody else. Pretend like you're counseling someone else in the situation. Realistically look at it and then decide if it really seems like this is a situation where where you're really at that severe of a disadvantage, because this here says you're not. This is going to be about your perception, which doesn't necessarily make it easier, but does tell you that you may be able to step away from the perception and have some resolution relatively quickly, if that's what the problem is. Especially if it's your whole problem. You kind of hope that is, especially if you're able to find that new perspective. Okay, so Knight of Cups, though. The Knight of Cups coming out, this feels like doing a good deed, but not because you want to be credited with that deed. Mostly just doing a good deed because it's the right thing to do and the timing is right. The timing on something is finally right and you're just going to do it. It's going to matter almost immediately. It starts paying off for you karmically. It could be something as simple as answering a phone call instead of letting it go to voicemail when you know it's like not just any phone call, but something where you do know you shouldn't be screening this one. It's that sort of thing. And actually picking it up immediately, things start to change for you. And change is really the name of the game. I mean, it's been coming out an awful lot. You're certainly going to be warmed up for change and dealing with some interesting things. But the Tower card comes out here to suggest that you're going to actually see reduction of some of your opinions and thoughts to their basic foundations. You are encouraged to enjoy this. So whatever that means, it sounds like something good comes out of this. Like I've talked about how sometimes there are good towers and bad towers, or it's always from your standpoint. But I mean, is it good? Is it bad? Is it big? Is it small? This one, I don't know that it's huge, but it definitely does feel very positive. Like, oh, this is a fantastic realization to make. Something that you're happy to make this realization. I get that kind of sense. So I like this. I like the way that this feels for you. I do want to get you one more card here from the Shaman's Dream. I don't think we're going to go too extended on this one today, but I do feel like I want to get you another oracle. Let's see what I just dropped here. Okay. We have the Dust Devil card, the sense of moving out of stagnation. Now, it isn't real stagnation. What it is finally figuring something out that you've been held in place to see. So the same sort of thing has been happening to your person, only they're probably going to end up staying in that place for a little bit longer of, I don't see it, I haven't figured it out, and I want to, feeling like it's a place of stagnation, but not necessarily realizing that they are being held in one place by the universe and not being allowed to progress until they figure something out. So you figured something out. You figured something out that allows you to move out of stagnation, but also allows you to kind of go with the flow a little bit more with the concept of the drifter and experiencing life as it comes. So this was required in order to move you into this place, and this place will now be a little bit more productive for you. I feel like that ends up being a very positive thing, and definitely as far as it comes, it moves toward you letting go, being able to find some closure, and being able to really bask in the truth and uncertainty of the situation. Because I'm going to go ahead and say 6 months ago, you were not in a place to be able to do that. And at this point, what I'm feeling out of this collective is something a little bit different, far more advanced from that standpoint. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Maybe that's why we're attracting some of the new people into this collective. So anyway, welcome for everyone. I am going to wrap the reading up. I'm welcoming you into the collective at the end. But if this was your reading and this was your first one, then welcome. Go check out some of the other ones, and they're all connected. You know, I often will say that these readings are all connected. So if you feel like there's one that hits you, you may want to check out some of the other ones, or even maybe other series. Some people watch all of the series. So I am going to go ahead and stop here, and I'm trying to think about what's up next for us. I think we're up to it's going to be another series reading up next, I'm pretty sure, and I think it's the Divine Masculine Deep Dive. So we'll have to check and see what's happening with that person and just kind of where they are as we're entering. Now we're firmly in this new energy that we've been watching unfold over the past few days. So let's get to it. Let's get to it as we get into the weekend. So thanks so much for being here. I'll see you in that next reading, which I believe will come out tomorrow. And thanks again. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.